The best way to play Palkia V-Star with Terapagos EX might be without Dusknoir. This deck list just got first place at a regional in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and it also got fourth place at a regional in Birmingham in the United Kingdom. These were 1,000 and 2,000 player tournaments, so this deck might be legit. Let's take a deeper look at it and see why it's so good. As you can see here, we do have the 4 Hoot Hoot, 4 Noctowl. This is the main reason why this deck works. You use the Noctowl with its Jewel Seeker ability to get any card you want. You can get your Iono, you can get your Irida, you can get your Earthen Vessel, you can get your Buddy Buddy Poffin. Anything you need at the exact moment that you need it, you can get with Hoot Hoot and its Jewel Seeker. Absolutely broken card, and it's what makes this deck work. This deck honestly has an answer for everything. Your main attacker is going to be the Palkia V-Star. You can do upwards of 340 damage pretty easily if you and your opponent both have full benches. It does start with a 60 base damage and adds 20 for each Pokemon that your opponent and you have on your bench. So you're hitting 280 with relative ease. You don't really have to worry about V-Star Pokemon or other V Pokemon or basic EX Pokemon with this deck because you can just wipe them off the board pretty easily with Subspace Swell. Terapagos EX activates Area 0 Underdepths. There is only 3 Area 0 Underdepths, which is kind of sketchy. I don't really like that a whole lot, but you can find it with Noctowl. It's just crazy how powerful this card is when you really think about it. There's a lot of 1-ofs in this deck, and the reason why? You can find any of them whenever you need them. Terapagos EX is a pretty good attacker in a pinch. You can do 220 damage if your bench is completely full, which is pretty easy to do with the Buddy Buddy Poffin Nest Ball Ultra Ball count that we have. Also have 1 Heavy Ball. You do have a lot of basic Pokemon, so Heavy Ball is a good inclusion in this deck. The Ditto is a really key inclusion in this deck. The Transformative Start allows you to get whatever Pokemon you miss. If you don't have a Nest Ball or an Ultra Ball in your opening hand, but you do have the Fan Rotom, you can grab the Ditto and you can get your Terapagos, you can get your Radiant Greninja, or you can get your Palkia, whichever one of those you need. A lot of the time, I end up grabbing Radiant Greninja just to have a single prize in the active spot, but being able to use concealed cards is so powerful because you want to be able to use the V-Star power that Palkia has to put those energy back in play later. You can snipe with the Radiant Greninja if the situation allows it, but most of the time you're going to be doing the Star Portal ability to put 2 energy on your V-Star and 1 on a Palkia on the bench, just so you have your attackers lined up for basically the rest of the match. You can use the Glass Trumpet on Terapagos and a manual attachment to attack with that. You do have an energy switch that you can find with your Noctowl to be able to move that energy off Terapagos to a Palkia. It's just such a good deck. It's so well thought out and so well built that it's awesome. It's such a good deck. Props to Fabrizio for building this deck, for real. Pheasantipity is just broken, good to have on your bench. A lot of the time your opponent will go after the Pheasantipity because it's an easy 2 prizes, but the draw 3 is just so powerful when you play this many 1-ofs. Mew EX, free pivot option, and also allows you to draw cards in a pinch. Radiant Greninja, broken card, probably top 5 best cards all time. 2 Boss's Orders. I honestly wish there was 3 Boss's Orders in this deck, or maybe even a counter catcher. Like a 1-of counter catcher would be really nice. Just the gusting options are really, really powerful and really valuable in this deck. You do have the Prime Catcher, so you have 3 total gusting options that you can find with Noctowl. So normally that's enough to take out like support Pokemon and like 1 big KO on like a Charizard or Dragapult EX. So it's probably the perfect number, but I'm not as good of a player, so I usually end up discarding resources or not managing them as well. So if you manage everything perfectly, this is the perfect amount, but I always like to have more gusting options than I might need, just so they're already in hand at the perfect time. 2 Iono, 1 Judge. Early game Judge is so powerful. Iono, whenever you get into the late game, put your opponent down to 1, and it's really hard for them to, come up with a 280 damage attack to take out a Palkia V-Star. Irida allows you to find Greninja or your Palkia, and whichever item you would need for the turn. 1 Professor's Research, just so you can find it with Noctowl. If you have a low or empty hand, drawing 7 is busted. Thornton is crazy powerful. You can get rid of your liabilities on the bench. That's what I normally use it for. Pheasantipity and Mew are huge liabilities when you have them on the bench. So you use Thornton to put like a Hoot Hoot in play, or to bring back your Radiant Greninja, like a single prize Pokemon. Helps a lot. You can also use it to bring back your Palkia V, evolve it into a V-Star in a pinch. Here in another really, really crazy card that has won me a few games. The switching option isn't really that necessary in this deck, it feels like, but the additional damage is. Your opponent can play around Subspace Swell, can make it so your Subspace Swell is only doing 260 damage by not overbenching. You could surprise them with a Kieran to take that knockout. It's kind of the trick to beating Palkia is you never bench enough for them to be able to do enough damage to knock out your biggest threat. You normally leave it at one Pokemon less, so they can't take that knockout. But if with Kieran, additional 30 damage, you're taking that knockout when they don't expect it. For Nest Ball, obvious reasons. Night Stretcher is a huge card in this deck. I think 3 is the perfect number. You like to be able to get back your water energy. You like to be able to get back your Palkias, your Terapagos, your Hoot Hoots, Noctowls. If your opponent bumps your stadium, you want to use Night Stretchers to get those Pokemon back to do more damage. Just a very, very strong card. Super Rod would be really nice in this deck, but there's just no room. 3 Ultra Ball, 2 Glass Trumpet. Glass Trumpet's really, really strong. With Terapagos, Energy Switch into the Palkia. You can even attack with Fan Rotom. There's just so many things you could do with this deck. Heavy Ball, you have a lot of basics. Don't want to prize your Pheasantipity or your Greninja. Lost Vacuum, you can actually get rid of liabilities on your own bench with Lost Vacuum. And if you're going into like the late stages or last turn, Lost Vacuum, get rid of, damaged Palkias, damaged Terapagos, Pheasantipity, Mew. Whatever you need. You could also dump your own Noctowls to be able to use Night Stretcher to pull them back out of the discard to evolve into another Hoot Hoot. Just crazy combos you could pull with a Lost Vacuum and getting rid of your own stadium. Normally, you wouldn't want to get rid of your own Area 0 with playing Terapagos and Palkia, but sometimes it's extremely powerful. One Buddy Buddy Poffin, canceling Clone's almost a must-have. I know that you can take out Cornerstone Ogerpon with Terapagos, and then you could take out like Noivern if they have that with your Palkia, and then you could take out Mimikyu with the Fan Rotom, but having Canceling Clone just is a big help. You don't want to get trapped by Snorlax. It's mainly what I've used Canceling Clone for, but you can also use it for the Pikachu matchup. There's just so many answers to everything in this deck. 3 Area 0, wish this was 4, but I understand why there's 3 because you could just search it with Noctowl. 7 Energy is the perfect number. I've never needed more and I've never needed less in this deck. I've played 15 matches with this deck so far. Really, really good deck. A lot of fun. Let's go ahead and hop into some matches and show you how it works. They're allowing us to go first, which is pretty cool. You don't really know what they're playing if they decide to go second. A lot of decks are playing Badoo now. And if you got Badoo and you're going second, you can item lock your opponent, which is really strong. Unfortunately for them, we have kind of a god setup here. Hopefully they're not playing like Roaring Moon or Raging Bolt. The Squawkabilly start kind of gives the indication that's what they're playing, but we don't know for sure. All right, let's go ahead and Buddy Buddy Poffin. We're actually going to grab the Fan Rotom off of Buddy Buddy Poffin so we have Earthen Vessel fodder. We can go ahead and dump the other Fan Rotom that way. All right. Go ahead and grab our Greninja. Do we want to grab Palkia or do we want to grab Greninja? Let's grab Greninja. We could get a Palkia off the Greninja. Our best setup is if we can concealed cards into an Ultra Ball or a Palkia, which we do not. We're completely fine. We'll go ahead and attach an energy to Terapagos, and we'll pass. We'll see what our opponent's playing. If it's Miraidon, we should be okay. If it's Raging Bolt, we could be in trouble. Roaring Moon, we could be in trouble. We're about to find out. Is it a Miraidon? It is Miraidon. Let's see if they play the Zapdos. A lot of people have been cutting the Zapdos, which I don't completely agree with. I think the Zapdos is a must-have in Miraidon until it rotates. Let's see if they're playing the Zapdos or not. This is a really, really bad matchup for them if they don't have the Zapdos. I think it's like an auto loss. Is it an auto loss without Zapdos? Because we can fill up our bench and just 220 knock out everything they have. I mean, they could get 4 energy off of like electric generators and stuff like that. It would knock us out with Raichu, just straight up here on their second turn, but super unlikely. Gonna be Squawking Seas. Failed the generator. So our best attacker is Terapagos in this matchup, honestly. They can't one-shot it. They can one-shot our Palkia because it is weak to lightning. Double Turbo. We can take out a Regieleki VMAX, so the Regieleki VMAX really isn't a super big deal. It does increase the damage, so they can actually knock out our Terapagos. Maybe that's why they don't play the Zapdos. Heavy Baton for the Iron Hands. There's Pheasantipity. For Seal Zone. I'm so excited for 4 Sealstone to be gone. How many decks are held together by 4 Sealstone? It's not even a little funny. It's kind of absurd. All right, let's go ahead and concealed cards. All right, we're going to play the Noctowl. We'll grab... We don't have another vessel, I don't think. Whoop. We'll grab the Glass Trumpet, and we'll grab the Area 0. Go ahead and play the Area 0. Play the Glass Trumpet. Oh, it's not on our bench. Okay. Messed up. I messed up. That's okay. We'll put one on the fan rotom. All right, we're gonna grab a Night Stretcher. That would be a little bit more helpful. Grab Night Stretcher, and we're gonna grab Nest Ball. We're gonna grab another Terapagos. Actually, we're gonna grab Palkia. Grab Palkia. Grab out the energy. I always forget that Glass Trumpet's for the bench only. It's kind of sad that I keep forgetting that, but it's just how it is sometimes. All right, we'll do the 180 on the Squawkabilly. We could have bossed up the Pheasantipity. That was probably the more correct play, but I want to make sure I have knockouts in back-to-back turns here. As long as we take 2 prizes every single turn, we should win. Like right here, if they attack us with the Regieleki VMAX, and then we return KO with the boss's orders on like the Pheasantipity or whatever, then we should be fine. The 2/2/2 prize trade is going to be heavily in our favor here. We'll grab another Terapagos with this Ultra Ball. There's the Pikachu. They got to get into a VMAX here. If they don't get into a VMAX, we just have knockout on everything on their board. I think this is basically a free matchup. Raging Bolt. What the heck? All right. Our opponent is... I think they're cooking too much. They would have to play a Fighting Energy for that to work. That's weird. Is that like an accident? They accidentally put that card in their deck, didn't they? All right, they're going to V-Star, probably for the VMAX here. If they don't, then they just lose. They still haven't used Pheasantipity either. They do have that draw power available to them. Should have used Pheasantipity first. Always use Pheasantipity before you use your once per game 4 Sealstone. You could have got the card you want off of Flip the Script, and then you could save your 4 Sealstone. Getting carried by the turtle here. Electric Generator. Are they trying to get a knockout with Raichu? Is that the goal here? Regieleki VMAX does have free retreat. They need one more energy. They need a switch card. Or they need Regieleki V. They need a lot here. I'm not sure why they have Raging Bolt. That's kind of a weird card to have in a Miraidon deck. All right, bringing up the Palkia, I would assume. They do have a weakness knockout on Palkia. Biggest reason why we weren't super concerned with getting that into play until last turn. Greninja. All right, they're going to Lightning Wall. Take the knockout on Greninja, which is fine. We'll just return KO with the Terapagos. Use the Ultra Ball. We're still going to grab another Terapagos just so they don't take out our whole bench here if they were to bump the stadium. All right, I think we need, since they're doing 100 less, yeah, we need Palkia to take a knockout here. Right now we are doing 180, and now we're doing 200. All right, we're gonna go ahead and Star Portal. I know we're only Star Portaling for 2, but that's exactly what we need to take the knockout. Don't think we need to do anything else. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we're actually going to grab... grab Fez. That way, if our opponent bumps our stadium, we can actually get rid of our Noctows here, so we can use Night Stretcher to reuse them on our Hoot Hoots. Let's just go ahead and flip the script. I want to keep the boss in hand so we can just win next turn. No reason not to. All right, go ahead and Subspace Swell for 220, even with the Lightning Wall reduction. Still a pretty easy knockout there. All right, there's Prime Catcher. Yeah, we're sitting pretty here. Take a knockout on whatever's on their bench next turn. If they don't hit us with an Iono, we win. If they hit us with an Iono, we can get a Noctowl. We could get an Ultra Ball to win as well. Jewel Seeker's broken, man. Jewel Seeker's absolutely broken. Especially against these type of decks that are just straight, you know, 2/2/2 price trade type decks without much wiggle room. They do have a knockout here on Palkia, which is fine. If they don't have a Brave Charm, we'll just return KO with the Terapagos. We will need 2 more Pokemon because we do need to do, or we'll need 1 more Pokemon to replace the Palkia being knocked out to do 200 max damage. Oh wait, we're not using a double turbo. Hey, we're not using a double turbo, so we have more damage. We actually just have knockout. We're fine. They did get that extra 20 HP, which actually does matter here. The extra 20 HP does matter. Them putting that on the bench actually makes it matter less. You got to stop filling up your bench. That's how you beat Palkia. You don't fill up your bench. 500 damage with Miraidon EX and Photon Blaster. That's crazy, man. Do we have Thornton? We can actually just Jewel Seeker here for Thornton. Jewel Seeker. We're going to play the Thornton. I don't think it really matters what else we grab. All right, Thornton into the Terapagos. Grab the Visar. And we're doing 280 damage. That's why we play Thornton right there. For the surprise, out of nowhere, Palkia V-Star KO, just like that. Normally, you want to have another Pokemon on the bench. If we would have promoted the Fan Rotom, we could have done that as well. Change the Fan Rotom into the Palkia V, use the Night Stretcher to get the energy out of the discard. Just one less step by just doing it with the Terapagos because we already had the damage in play. But that's why I attached the energy to the Fan Rotom earlier, just so we could do the Thornton play out of nowhere with the Visar. Let me know what you guys think of Fabrizio's first place list. It honestly feels like it has a favored matchup into absolutely everything. We kind of struggled against Lugia V-Star when they would go first and they had the turn 2 knockout as soon as they were able to attack. That was really, really bad for us. That was our only 2 losses was against Lugia V-Star. Other than that, it felt like we were just steamrolling absolutely everything. We had an answer for every single deck that we played with all of our amazing tech cards. Let me know what you guys think of this list down in the comments. Make sure you check out this video right over here, and I'll see you in the next one.